Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Sisters of Wellness. One of the things that is most uncomfortable for people, as a matter of fact, some say that it is right next to being afraid of death, speaking. But our guest tonight on Sisters of Wellness, Barbara H. Smith, is a trainer. She's a celebrity speaking coach and a fabulous woman with her talk show. And she's the author of a Amazon best-selling book, her second book, as a matter of fact. But take a look at this.
Are you ready? My coach, Barbara H. Smith. Why did I hire her? Because she's the best.
Barbara H. Smith is a powerhouse. She just walks in the room and grabs your attention, and she does that in a way that just makes you feel loved and like she's paying attention to you. She cares about you, and she wants to see you be your best self.
She was able to dig inside and find the passion that was deep within me.
Barbara's energy is one of the reasons that I had to have her as my coach. I love the way she is real with people.
The reason I felt like I needed a coach was because I have some big goals and I needed to build my confidence. I knew that Barbara could help me do that.
I felt that I could trust her.
I would definitely recommend to get coaching from Barbara H. Smith if you feel like you need to level up your confidence. She would just help you feel like bold, like you can take on the world.
She has really shown me who I am. She has changed my mindset to a place that I know that I am more powerful today than I would have ever been if I had never met Barbara Smith.
That's powerful. I am more powerful today than I would have been if I had never met Barbara H. Smith. Well, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. You are getting to meet Barbara H. Smith tonight. Barbara H. Smith, thank you so much for being on our show tonight. As soon as I get this off the screen, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela Marshall. Pamela D. Marshall, I'm excited to be here with you. An honor to be on your platform.
Well, I am very excited to have you here too, because as I said before, there are people who are more afraid of speaking in public than they are of dying.
Yeah.
Can you help those people?
It is a tragedy because most of the time when people are afraid to speak in public, it's because someone in their past told them that they couldn't. They either embarrassed them or they just flat out told them that they should not be speaking in public. And the truth of the matter is everyone has the potential to speak in public effortlessly. And why do I say that? Because all speaking in public is about is telling your story, and we all have them. So what I do is help people understand and uncover whatever that stumbling block is, and it usually has something to do with what's in their mind and what they see in themselves based on what someone else has placed on them as a deficiency. And once we uncover that and they are aware of it, and move it out of the way, then they can step up to the art and science of public speaking.
Louise McKinney is joining us. Louise has a book inside of her. This is a great person for you to talk to as well, Louise, because you are the author of two books, and the second one, I don't want to change subjects too quickly, but the fact that you were all able to bring some women together who you had coached, and whether they were being coached on their business or on speaking, and you all wrote a book together. Tell us about that book.
Oh my gosh, thank you for asking that question. What a phenomenal experience this was. This is an anthology. It's called Empowering You. It's a series of anthologies that we'll be following. But this was the first anthology, and the group we named Genesis because it was the first, of 9 women who came together to pour out their souls on paper. Now, all of these women, except one, had never written a book. All of these women wanted to write a book, and they wanted to tell their stories, but they just didn't know how. So we have a process, the anthology process, is a well-oiled machine. These ladies came together, wrote their outlines. They had milestones and deadlines, and we did all the work. Basically, all they had to do was write their stories in a format that we actually gave them. And we did all of the editing, the proofing, the cover, we did the publishing, we did all of the marketing for it, and it ended up becoming a #1 Amazon best-selling book.
How does that make you feel, Barbara H. Smith?
Incredible, because not only is it a #1 Amazon best-selling book, it is an international book. So every author in this anthology is now considered an international author. #1 Amazon best-selling international author. And how is that possible? It's because in our plan to do this anthology, we included an author from Nairobi, Kenya, which automatically makes the rest of the authors international authors. Because this book is so powerful, it has already helped so many women and men, by the way, because each story resonates with someone. Each story is a story of from struggle to strength. And it has been such an amazing journey. I knew these ladies superficially, I want to say, because I never knew these stories about them. And I literally had to grab a box of tissues to get through some of the heart-wrenching, the heartbreaking journeys that they had. And then how they came to a place of healing, restoration. And many of them, I think all of them did say that this process of writing this anthology with the coaches that we brought in helped them to heal and get over some things that they thought they had long forgotten. So it's powerful.
How about that? That they thought they had long forgotten, but were able to start writing and then realize that there's some stuff that's still in it, whether it's a little corner
In the
still
corner.
left, any of it still left,
Mhm.
leaves an opportunity for festering and growing
Oh, yeah.
at moment's notice at something that triggers you.
And say that again. The triggers, the
Yeah.
things that trigger us that we don't even know. And although I didn't have a specific chapter in the book, I was the introduction writer, but the fact that we had 3 different outside coaches to help these ladies kind of journey through what they thought was a traumatic experience, and in many cases was traumatic. Pamela mentioned something very crucial, and that is those corners of our lives that we think we've gotten over and we haven't. And then to pull that out and be able to heal from it simply by writing it out and recognizing that it was still there. Again, it was so powerful. And so we have another anthology that's coming. It
Oh,
is
wow.
in the works right now as we speak. We're doing interviews for people who want to tell their story, not sure how, never written a book, and they're a little timid to the whole author process. This book is called Let Go of the Past, so you can step
Mm,
into your greatness.
wow, wow. And this book, that your most recent book, the title is again,
Empowering you, it's your time.
and they can find that on Amazon,
Yes, they
Barnes and
can.
Noble, wherever your books are sold.
Mhm. And they can also get the signed copy from me. If they would like a signed copy, they can get a signed copy by just going to barbarahsmith.com and go in the store, and I will get the order and send their copy to them at their home. The
Let's talk about this speaking again. This
Okay.
these as a celebrity speaker coach, what do you find is the most challenging thing to get people, the hurdle for them to get over, other than just being afraid to step up to the mic? What are some of the other hurdles that you help people to?
Well, the biggest hurdle is the mindset that people don't think they can do it. And when we determine and discover that everything we think is who we are. So when we work together, when I work with clients, our first stop is, what are you saying to yourself? What is that inner critic saying to you? And then I ask a question. If someone walked up to you and said you were ugly and you were fat, and you were mean, and you were all the things that we say to ourselves, would you take it? Or would it be a situation? If it would be a situation for someone else to come up to you and say those ugly, mean things to us, then why do we allow ourselves to talk to ourselves like that? And so we start with mindset. And that's the hurdle. That's the hardest. Once we get past the mindset of you are magnificently made, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, you are made in the image of the Creator, and you understand that God don't make no junk.
Mm.
That's my t-shirt.
Regardless,
My godmother
yeah,
gave me.
regardless to what you've been told in the past.
Regardless. And that's the thing. We've been told the mind is impressionable, especially when we're young. When we are told repeatedly negative things about ourselves by an authority figure, and over again, it leaves an imprint in our hearts and in our minds. But in our hearts and minds, the mind of the two, the mind is the one that we have the hardest thing getting over. So what are some techniques that I use? Some of the techniques I use, one of the techniques I use is affirmations. And how, people say, oh yeah, I can affirm that, I am strong, I am beautiful, I am talented, and I still don't believe it. Well, that's because it has to get into your subconscious. And how does it do that? There are techniques, one of which is listen to it overnight. Because whether you're sleeping or not, your brain, your subconscious is still thinking. How do I know that is true? Because if you had to think about every time you need to take a breath in order to take a breath, we'd be passed out. So your mind is continuously working while you sleep. Use that time to solidify who you really are. And that's one of the techniques we use.
Just like we hear a song, and that song, the sounds, the words stay with us throughout the day, and maybe even the next day, and next few days.
Yes.
Saying positive affirmations.
Mhm.
It seems like, well, that's not much, but it's so powerful.
It is.
Because what you're doing is mind.
Yeah.
So Barbara, with your coaching,
You skipped out on me for a second. Are you back? You skipped out.
frozen for a minute.
Yeah.
Hello,
So
everybody. Thank you so much for watching us. We're talking to Barbara H. Smith. She is a celebrity speaker coach and a trainer for companies, but also with executives in companies who have to make presentations before large groups. There are people who need help with that.
yeah.
How do you work with people who have the challenge of speaking to audiences, perhaps coworkers? That can be the most difficult thing.
Right. Well, there are a plethora of techniques, strategies, and tips I use to help. Executive coaching is one of those things that we sit down, and again, we start with the mindset. What is the struggle? Why do you think this is a challenge? what has happened in the past. We ask those kinds of questions and get to the root of the problem before we can go any further. And then we talk about presentation techniques. I know everybody that's listening has been in presentations where you just want to take a fork and stab it in your eye because it's so boring. It's so boring. But what we talk about is, how do you engage your audience? Storytelling is my favorite way to engage an audience. And we all have stories that we've long since forgotten, that we don't even use, that could engage an audience, because people are human and they want to see the speaker or the person who is presenting in a human way. They want to cheer you. They want to encourage you. But when you come to when people come to the platform, the stage, the podium, and they just spout facts and figures without showing a human side, it's the quickest way to get somebody to pick up their phone and start figuring out who they need to email or who they need to text. And so the strategies that I use are tried and true. They've worked for me. They've worked for others. I have spent my life's work learning how to get people engaged in what other people are saying, to get people engaged and participating in whatever presentation it is. Anything from boring, dry, technical writing with capital one to boring, dry presentations with Canon USA. We can take those boring, dry pieces of material and change them, not to change the content, but to add a layer of humanistic, of fun, of acting to it so that the audience is engaged.
We had to make a shift in 2020. Went from in-person to virtual events. How challenging was that for you? Because you've been speaking to audiences in Africa, all over the United States. And then what was that like for you to think, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Or maybe you didn't say that.
Oh, I did. Oh, but I did. I was in the process of gaining and garnering a contract with the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard here in this area. It's one of the
Wow.
largest employers. And it was a face-to-face training, and the ink was just about dry. And they called me and said, we're not doing face-to-face training. We're shutting down the base to all external visitors. You cannot do this training. It was one of my largest 3 contracts for the entire year. And I literally said, what am I going? I can't do face-to-face training. And I literally went into a spiral depression. How am I going to make money? And one day I woke up and the Spirit said to me, get up from there. Your background is in information technology. You were doing Zoom sessions before Zoom sessions were a thing. Start making phone calls and asking people if they know how to use Zoom. Immediately, I started getting contracts.
Teaching people how to use Zoom?
They hadn't, teaching people how to use the tool that everybody now uses.
Wow.
They did not know how to use the tool that they were now forced into, submerged under, and now having to navigate how do you do a productive meeting, let alone how to make it interesting. How do you even do it?
Yeah.
And my business pivoted on its heels in an instant.
Wow, 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 wow. So, and then that opened even more doors for you, because
Absolutely.
now you don't have to drive. And now they don't have to be in
Exactly.
Virginia. They can be in California.
Listen, not California. How about since COVID happened, since the business pivoted to online, I have done speaking engagements in Liberia, Uganda, Nairobi, Kenya, United Kingdom. It's not even any walls anymore. There's no barriers whatsoever. And that's what's so amazing about this virtual world we're in. And there are still people who have not figured out how to use Zoom effectively.
And so Barbara H. Smith of Barbara BHS Associates, a corporate speaker and trainer, diversity and inclusion coach, author. When you are now you're coaching, you can coach anybody because
Yes,
they didn't have to be. They don't have to be in your hometown. It's
right.
expanded your ability to coach.
I can coach anybody that's coachable. But the location is not a challenge anymore.
The
That's
location is not a challenge. Who's not coachable, Barbara?
there are people who are not coachable. Let me tell you,
So
they
you
are.
don't take all clients that come to you.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Mm-mm.
Okay,
I like to say all money isn't good money.
gotcha.
So you can be paid, you can be in a position to invest in my services, but I like the fit before fee. If we're not a good fit for each other, I will not take your money.
So what does it mean to be a good fit? What is it that you're looking for in potential clients? Because,
It's very
because in a situation like this, people could just be thinking that, you just want to get people in there and sign on the dotted line and
it's very simple.
okay.
You have to want to, I call it, you have to have some want to. You have to want to be better. You have to realize that there are deficiencies and that there is someone who can help you. But if you come or the client comes or the prospect comes with a I know this already attitude, that's not a good fit for me. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah, because if I know this already, then how do you help them to know that they don't know
Yeah,
it? Because they think they already know it.
right. Right. And we can
Being
all learn something. And I learn a lot from my clients. This is not a one-way street where I'm doing all of the pouring into. We each have our strengths. And so one of my strengths is not marketing. That's not my
Mhm.
strength. And so I have clients come to me who are marketing gurus who need to present their good or service and are not quite sure how to do that. In a speaking arena, they can do it online all day, but when they have to do a presentation or a speaking engagement to talk about what they do, they sometimes have challenges, and that's where I come in.
So, Barbara, not only are you all of those things that we've talked about before, the celebrity speaker coach, diversity and inclusion, best-selling author, you also put on a women's retreat.
Oh my gosh, yes. Incredible. My first one this year, 2022, was a tremendous success. These women, again, women are my heart's pull. Women came together, professional, executive level women who spin, literally work, and trying to figure out where their balance is. They came together on the eastern shore of Virginia in Virginia Beach, and we learned about sales and marketing. We learned about branding. We had a spiritual component where we got up in the morning and did yoga, meditation, and prayer, thanks to at the wellness coach, Pamela D. Marshall. And we had a phenomenal time. They had a photo shoot, a makeup session, and it was a phenomenal weekend of just relax, release, rejuvenate, refresh, and renewed. And they're still talking about it. This
And,
was an amazing retreat.
and you are having it again this year.
I am. 2023, it's going to be in October. We're locking down the venue right now, so I can't give the dates yet until they tell us that the dates we've chosen are the ones that they're going to allow us to have. And what we're looking at is commandeering an entire hotel.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So
That's powerful.
yeah, it's on the beach again because I have to be near water. You know that water does something for our peace, and so I'm pretty excited about what's coming up this year.
And I have your information on the screen of how people can get in touch with you. What is the most rewarding thing for you, Barbara, in the work that you do?
The most rewarding thing for me is watching women, anyone. I have some male clients as well, but mostly my client base is executive women, is watching them discover that they really do matter and that they really have a story and that they really have a voice. And then going on to do tremendous work in their lane of expertise. That to me is the most satisfying.
You are a wife, a mom. You are also, you have your lovely mother who's staying with you also. Talk about balancing all of that. How do you manage to balance all of
It's pretty simple. My husband is self-sufficient, like he cooks his own dinner if I can't get to it. And my mom, we're so blessed that she is still 84 years old in her right mind.
that?
She has some small health challenges, but everything that's health challenge for her, she maintains. She manages her health, her medication. She feeds her own self. If she doesn't like what I cook, because I cook mostly, if she don't like what I cook, she cooks her own food. And we don't have a challenge with worrying about her burning herself on the stove or anything like that. She's still driving her own vehicle.
She's
And
still
I
driving.
Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact, when people ask me that, my son asked the other day, "Granny, you still driving?" And he wanted to take her truck from her. She drives an SUV. He wanted to take her truck from her, like inherit her truck. And she said, "Well, what am I supposed to drive?" And he said, "Grams, you still driving?" I said, "Yeah," and try to take her keys and see what happens.
That is amazing. That's wonderful.
So she goes and she feeds the hungry on Mondays. We call that her job. So my husband constantly said, "You going to work tomorrow?" On Sunday night, he says, "You going to work tomorrow?" And she says, "I think I am." But to answer your question, it's pretty simple because they're self-sufficient. My children are all grown. My oldest son is 42. And so I pretty much just do what I need to do for me, the business, and then I carve out time to make sure that I spend time with my mom and my husband. But it's pretty simple for me. I don't have any stressors.
What do you say to people who are watching this who may think, I want to do it, I'm not sure, or I'm not sure if this is right for me, I'm not sure if it's my time, my turn, or those things, those voices of doubt that you talked about that you work with people to help them get through.
What I say to them is give me a call, 757-504-0806, and let's set up a 15-minute complimentary consultation. There's no obligation. There is no pressure. I just want to hear what it is that's maybe you're thinking that's got you stuck, and what are the things you want to do. Because in this time of life, if we're not doing the things that give us peace and joy, then we're really not living. And so, are you tired is one of the questions of doing the same things over and over and expecting a different result? Or are you ready to take a step of faith? Let me tell you, I had a client recently who was petrified to become part of the anthology. And she talked to everybody in her circle, people who were negative, people who she trusted that told her that they wouldn't do it if they were her. And she finally said, "I'm doing this for me." And it's basically
Mm.
because we talked about, what do you want? Never mind what everybody else wants. What do you want? Do you want to take your gifts and talents to your grave? Or do you
Mm.
want to leave a legacy for your children, your children's children, your whoever, to say she stood on her ground or he stood on his grounds and he did the doggone thing?
Did the doggone thing. Yeah. We think about impacting those that are around us, those that who know and love us. But once you write, you are able to impact people who may never ever meet you. But your
Exactly.
words and your stories
Yeah.
will impact them and future generations because it has been recorded.
Yep. And the hand is the digital recorder for the mind. Let me say that again. The hand writing is the digital recorder for what's in your mind. And if you could get some of those thoughts on paper so that, like Pamela just said, someone else who you may never meet and may never know, into perpetuity, forevermore, your information is recorded.
Yeah, how about that? And for all who are thinking that they don't have the ability to write and perhaps could be a part of your next book
Yeah.
or writing their own books, when you wrote your first book, just real quick, what was it that propelled you to get started and keep going?
I had a coach. I had been writing a book for 20 years and it never got written. And my coach
Mm.
saw in me and said, "You said you're a speaker. How long have you been speaking?" "About 20 years. He said, "You don't have a book? Where's your book?" I said, "I don't have one." He said, "You're a speaker and you don't have a book?" And it hit me in a place that was hurtful. Because when you are a speaker, you have to have some tangible object to leave with people once they hear you. And I had nothing. And then he challenged me, and I'm very competitive. "I want you to come back next week with your book." And I went, "Wait, what?" And he asked me several times, told me several times that that's what he said. And I said, "I can't do that." He said, "What do you mean?" "I want you to go back and pull out every hard drive, every speech you've ever written, every notebook, every journal, and then categorize those talks. And then tell me how many books, plural, you have." Well, I did that exercise because I'm competitive. And I came back with 7 books that I could have written based on the things I've already
Wow.
written.
Wow. That's amazing. Louise McKinney, who has a book in her that she wants to write, and I want her to write it too. Wow,
Yeah.
how inspiring. You're so inspiring, you're so encouraging, and you're so wonderful to work with. As my speaker coach, I appreciate the work that we are doing together.
Thank
And
you.
even though I have been speaking since I was 3 years old, that Easter speech, all of us have to do Easter speech. So you're already doing that. Um, just discovering some new ways of doing it and opening up my mind to some new ways of doing it. So thank you very much
I
for
appreciate
allowing me to be a part of your speaker training. I really appreciate it. And I guess that propels me to celebrity status because
it.
that's who
Yes,
you
ma'am.
train,
That's right.
celebrity speakers.
That is correct. That is exactly what it is. And so people get intimidated by the fact that I call myself the celebrity speaker trainer. Well, what that means, if you look up the word celebrity, it's just somebody that's known in your circles. And so when you learn how the art and science of speaking works and you learn some of the techniques that I train, you too become a celebrity speaker in your circles because people will recognize the change. They will recognize the difference and they'll want to hear more from you. They'll want to hear your story your way. You too can become a celebrity speaker. Just go to barbarahsmith.com and look up the free information I have there for you. I have a free ebook there that tells you how to present with power. Just download it. It's a first step into learning how to become a celebrity speaker.
How to present with power. Barbara H. Smith, I am so pleased that you took time to be with us here on Sisters of Wellness to inspire, to encourage, and help move us to the next level to say, yes, you really can do it, and I can help you.
I am so honored that you would invite me to your platform, and it just does my heart good to know that you are being helped by the Celebrity Speaker Training.
I am. Well, everybody, thank you all so much for watching Sisters of Wellness. I really appreciate you watching. I appreciate your hearts and your likes and your comments. We want to be able to do things that will help you, that will help propel you to the next level, to raise the bar. That's what we want to do, raise the bar so that you know that it is an achievable place because the greatness is already within you.
It's already in you.
Until next time, I'm Pamela Marshall at the Wellness Radio TV and at the Wellness Radio TV podcast. Remember, there is healing at the well. Make it a fantastic moment. We'll see you next time.